Sidney Powell is being sued, right? Is she still being sued by Dominion?
Who knows? I know I saw on some, like, the Hill or something that she moved back to Washington, D.C. Maybe she just wants to get close to the power source.
Mm-hmm.
A district court in Michigan is referring her and for disbarment recently.
Why would that be? Sidney Powell, of course, was the one who was pushing this whole vote fraud thing. Essentially, made it bankrupt Rudy Giuliani and bringing him into the whole thing with the Dominion thing. Although there's a good argument.
And we thank you for your service.
Exactly. There is a good argument that Rudy Giuliani has just gone completely backcrap crazy anyways. This is Sidney Powell. She was also very much, I think you got to give her some credit, helped big time in Georgia, making sure that Georgians came out and voted for the Democratic senators. And what do you do if you are a guy who is working for a right-wing media outlet that, and still very much in the right wing, one of the features of the right wing, and particularly of the religious right in this country, is a problem with the gays and their marriage. And what do you do if you thought you were starting out your sort of like career with a sort of like you were doing a dance with the right wing, but you wanted to maintain that you were actually sort of a lefty, and so that you sort of like were walking this knife's edge. And then, like I say, you at one point you decided to dive into where you thought the money was, because the one end of that edge was not so good. What do you do if you're stuck over there? And you're like, it's just a matter of time before somebody finds out that I'm not, like, I don't belong on the blaze. Or I'll tell you what you do. You do this. I give you Dave Rubin.
This is from @DaveClips, by the way.
Yes. Oh, I should read it to people who can't see. All right, hold on. Go back.
Seem
Go back.
like
Now,
a fraud
I
and a
saw a
liar.
This is Dave Rubin. Listen to her tone and her directness. Does this seem a fraud and a liar? This is back in November 19th. She also made a direct accusation, said they have proof of drag and drop where votes can electronically be switched or dumped. Live in 2 minutes to discuss. And that's
So much discussion of dumping.
This. Now, I saw a whole bunch of people saying all sorts of stuff over the last little bit. People are saying, well, Sidney Powell is obviously insane. She's a conspiracy theorist and blah, blah, blah. Now, I still just don't buy that. I don't buy that this woman is just lighting herself on fire and has gone completely crazy. I suspect that she has some of the evidence that she's talking about, and she's going to try to lay it out in court. If Joe Biden is to be president, and I'm still putting the if there, and we still got to see what Sidney Powell's got. We still got to see what Trump's team's got with Giuliani and Jen Ellis and everything else. The election is not certified, and I still think surprises are coming, as I just said.
First off, let me say that I don't think this thing's over yet. I don't either. I really don't. Sidney Powell, who's his lawyer, and Giuliani, who destroyed the mob in New York.
Well aware of all of
like all of these people.
I'm really up on this stuff.
Yeah. So like these are true fighters who have really done things over the years. You know, Sidney Powell is also Mike Flynn's lawyer. Like they've done real stuff.
Why don't you put that out immediately if you do have something? I mean, there is
you got to build a case.
You got to build a case.
If any of you have ever been in any sort of legal proceedings, whether you're in a divorce or a civil case or a criminal case, you don't just drop everything. The second you get info, you don't just drop it and share it with everybody, right? You build a case so you can drop the bomb or release the Kraken, as they say.
that's so beautiful.
He worked in her catchphrase. She worked in her catchphrase. That's how you know he's appealing. He's getting increasingly desperate in his attempts to be like, don't look at me being gay, audience. Here, I'm going to just like give you all the buzzwords you need. Release the Kraken.
It's so funny because even like Steven Crowder, I mean, Ben Shapiro was smarter about this than a lot of them.
Yeah.
But Crowder was also like making fun of Sidney Powell. But Ruben's useful because he'll just do the dumbest version of what they're all sort of playing footsie with.
Yeah. Now, where is he now? I'd be curious as to like if he ever even brings up.
Well,
Sidney Powell.
don't you hear he's on break because after he had his 12-hour Twitter ban for spreading misinformation, he said he was going to be in the lab with a pen and a pad trying to figure out a way to get back at Jack.
Oh, is he still on break doing this? Yeah, I guess we got to wait for him to come back in Labor Day, see where what he's coming up with. I have a feeling it's going to be like, how are we going to negotiate this whole thing where we're on the blaze and people are soon going to find out that I'm married to a guy, and that's going to be a problem for me in my career.
The Jack thing's probably a bit secondary.
Maybe that's why the Jack thing becomes primary.
Well, so then perhaps he reemerges like a phoenix from the Los Angeles ashes and becomes a just purely cancel culture dude.
Who still watches Dave Rubin?
A lot of he's got more subscribers than our channel.
Oh no, with that, no, I'm not saying. I know there's a lot of people like, but what is the profile of a person who did that?
I mean, I'm old enough that I remember when I started here, there were still people who were on the fence about Dave Rubin.
Yeah.
Who were like the atheist types, particularly.
Yeah.
Like he goes wrong certain places, but he does some interviews I like. Nobody is there anymore.
Yeah, like, I mean, is it just a full-on...
Right-wingers,
Yeah, I'm not saying, like, I'm not... this is not a rhetorical question. I'm, like, very curious as to, like, specifically what his audience must look like now.
It's probably just people who have autoplay on who are watching Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh.
50, 60-year-old conservatives.
Right.
Yes, and I'd imagine he gets a good amount of revenue from Facebook, etc. But, like, the clock is ticking, and even he is... smart enough to realize it. It's just obvious he's boxed in, as you say. There's not a lot of angles that he can use at this point. The atheist, like, centrist types, even the Sam Harris types, they've moved beyond him. So it's just Blaze TV people.
Yeah.
And he's not effective at communicating any of these things either. So why not just watch Ben Shapiro if you're that kind of person? Why don't you just
he's
watch...
only on for a couple hours a day.
Yeah. Shot and chaser. Oh, Dave Rubin is the chaser. Not fun.
Both and.
Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.